The silent invasion. Commander Elijah Wright squinted at his monitor, the blue light reflecting off his weathered face as he studied the anomalous readings for the fifth consecutive hour. Something wasn't right in Earth's upper atmosphere. As head of NASA's Deep Space Monitoring Division, he developed an instinct for distinguishing between routine space phenomena and genuine anomalies. The distortions appearing intermittently over the past week fell decidedly into the latter category. "Dr. Mercer, take a look at this pattern." Wright beckoned to his chief science officer, a brilliant astrophysicist whose analytical mind had proven invaluable to the program. Dr. Julian Mercer leaned forward, his eyes narrowing behind wire-rimmed glasses. "Gravitational lensing without a visible mass source," he muttered. "Impossible under standard physics models." "Unless something's there that we can't see," Wright replied, his voice low and steady. "Something deliberately hiding." Across the globe in Beijing, Dr. Vivian Powell was observing a different kind of anomaly. As director of the International Neuroscience Initiative, she had access to an unprecedented network of brain activity data. The global monitoring system had been established to track neurological patterns related to pandemic response, but lately it was showing something far more intriguing and troubling. "Ms. Zhang, are you seeing this?" Powell called to her assistant. "The synchronized delta wave patterns are spreading, 17% of monitored subjects now." Lillian Zhang nodded, her face illuminated by scrolling data. "Started at 3% just last week, and the synchronization is growing more precise. Whatever's happening, it's accelerating." Powell rubbed her temples. "The patterns suggest shared dream states, but at this scale, across demographic and geographic boundaries, there's no precedent." What neither Wright nor Powell knew was that humanity was experiencing the first phase of contact with the Khazari Dominion, an interstellar civilization whose cloaked scout vessels now orbited Earth. The Khazari, with their crystalline-based biology and technological superiority, had identified Earth as a potential colony world, primitive enough to conquer, resourceful enough to exploit. Fleet Commander Vorzik stood on the command deck of the flagship Indomitable Will, his translucent fingers manipulating holographic displays of Earth's defense systems, communication networks, and population centers. His crystalline form refracted the ship's ambient lighting into prismatic patterns across the deck. "The infiltration proceeds as planned, Sub-Commander," he addressed his second-in-command. "Our phase-shifting technology renders us completely undetectable to their primitive scanning systems." Sub-Commander Nix, her form more densely crystalline than Vorzik's, indicating greater age and status, studied the neural activity maps with concern. "There are anomalies in the target species' brain patterns, Commander. Some appear to be reacting to our presence despite their technological limitations." "Meaningless coincidence," Vorzik dismissed with a crystalline chime that indicated amusement in Khazari communication. "The xenobiologists anticipated this. Humans experience random neural firing during sleep cycles, what they call dreams. Their primitive mythology even ascribes meaning to these random firings. It's nothing more than biological static." "The correlation seems unusually specific," Nix persisted, her tone resonating with harmonic overtones of concern. "The patterns intensify precisely when our scout ships pass overhead." "Deploy the infiltration units as scheduled," Vorzik ordered, ending the discussion. "First phase operatives will establish beachheads in the primary target cities within the lunar cycle. The humans will remain oblivious until it's too late to mount an effective resistance." On Earth, Marcus Chen jolted awake in his San Francisco apartment, gasping for breath. The Army Ranger turned tech security specialist had experienced his share of nightmares during his military service, but nothing like this. For the third night in a row, he dreamed of crystalline beings standing over his bed, studying him like a specimen. The details remained vivid even after waking, their geometric, faceted forms, the cold, analytical intelligence behind their prismatic eyes, the sensation of his thoughts being sifted through like files in a cabinet. Chen's hands trembled as he recorded the experience in the journal his therapist had recommended for his PTSD. As he wrote, he noticed something that sent a chill down his spine. His descriptions of the beings matched exactly from night to night, down to the specific pattern of facets on the leader's crystalline form. This consistency was unlike any dream he'd ever experienced. Across town, Dr. Powell was receiving disturbing reports from her global network. Thousands of individuals were reporting identical dream content: crystalline beings, observational scenarios, sensations of mental intrusion. The statistical impossibility of such widespread dream consistency had finally captured the attention of government agencies. "We need to take this seriously," Powell insisted during an emergency video conference with military and intelligence officials. "The synchronization suggests an external stimulus affecting human consciousness on a global scale." General Hamilton of the Joint Chiefs scoffed. "You're suggesting what exactly, alien mind readers?" "I'm suggesting we investigate all possibilities," Powell replied firmly, "including those outside our conventional understanding." In orbit, Junior Scout Tezix was monitoring human communications when he detected Powell's conference. Unlike his superiors, Tezix had specialized in xenopsychology during his training and had developed a fascination with human consciousness. Their neural patterns were chaotic by Khazari standards, but showed surprising complexity and interconnectivity. "Sub-Commander," Tezix reported, "the humans are beginning to detect patterns in their dream states. They're correlating the experiences across their global communication networks." Nix's crystalline form darkened with concern. "How is this possible? Their technology cannot detect our presence." "It may not be technological detection," Tezix ventured. "My research suggests humans possess a form of consciousness that operates differently from ours. Their subconscious mind processes information their conscious mind cannot access." "Superstition and primitive psychology," Vorzik interrupted, joining the discussion. "Their dreams are meaningless neural misfirings." "With respect, Commander," Tezix persisted, "the correlation is too precise to be coincidence. Somehow they sense us." That night, as Chen drifted into uneasy sleep, something unprecedented occurred. Instead of merely being observed by the crystalline beings, he found himself capable of interaction. When one reached toward him with probing intent, Chen's dream self reacted instinctively, pushing back with a focused thought: "Who are you?" The being recoiled as if struck, its crystalline form vibrating with surprise. Chen felt a foreign consciousness touch his own, cold, ordered, mathematical, attempting to process this unexpected development. "How are you doing this?" The thought wasn't in words exactly, but Chen understood it nonetheless. "This is my mind," Chen responded. "I should be asking you that question." Before the being could respond, Chen felt another presence join his consciousness, then another and another. Around the world, humans in the same dream state were somehow connecting, their minds linking in a vast improvised network. The crystalline being retreated, overwhelmed by the sudden multiplication of human consciousness focusing on it. Chen awoke with perfect recall and a certainty that transcended explanation. He knew what he had experienced wasn't merely a dream. Reaching for his phone with steady hands, he called the number that had appeared mysteriously in his contact list overnight: Dr. Vivian Powell. "Dr. Powell, you don't know me, but I think I've made contact with whatever you've been tracking in those brain patterns." Chen's voice was calm now, filled with purpose. "And I'm not the only one." Powell's reply confirmed what he somehow already knew. "Mr. Chen, your name came up in our system last night, along with several hundred others globally. Something unprecedented is happening to human consciousness. I think we're developing a defense mechanism, and not a moment too soon." In orbit, the Khazari command deck erupted in confusion as infiltration units reported simultaneous detection across all insertion points. Somehow, the humans were seeing through their phase-shifting technology, identifying operatives who should have been completely invisible to human perception. "Impossible," Vorzik's crystalline form pulsed with agitation. "Their technology cannot detect our presence." Tezix, monitoring the human neural network, turned to his commander. "It's not their technology detecting us, sir. It's them. Their minds have formed a network while they sleep, a collective consciousness that perceives what their individual minds and technology cannot. As dawn broke over Earth, humanity was awakening to more than just a new day. They were awakening to a new understanding of their own potential and the knowledge that they were not alone in the universe. And most importantly, they were discovering that the power to defend their world might lie not in weapons or technology, but in the very dreams that the invaders had dismissed as meaningless. The Awakening Network. Dr. Vivian Powell's laboratory had transformed overnight from a quiet research facility into the nerve center of humanity's most unusual defense effort. Military personnel worked alongside neuroscientists, setting up equipment as Powell directed the chaotic symphony of activity with remarkable composure. "The dream connections are strengthening," she announced to the assembled team, pointing to a global neural activity map. "We're seeing unprecedented synchronization across continents." Marcus Chen sat in a modified recliner, his head fitted with an advanced electroencephalogram cap bristling with sensors. As a former ranger whose mind had made direct contact with the aliens, he'd volunteered to be among the first test subjects for Powell's experimental dream amplification technology. "This rig looks like something out of a sci-fi movie," Chen commented as technicians attached the final sensors. "Science fiction often precedes science fact," Powell replied, checking his readings. "What you and others experienced spontaneously we're attempting to enhance and direct. If human consciousness can detect these beings during dream states, we might be able to push that capability further." Director Naomi Jackson entered the lab, her authoritative presence drawing attention immediately. As the newly appointed head of the International Extraterrestrial Response Division, she carried the weight of coordinating humanity's first unified defense against an alien threat. "Dr. Powell, the UN Security Council has approved your full proposal," Jackson announced. "Operation Dreamcatcher is now our primary defense initiative. You have whatever resources you need." Powell nodded grimly. "It won't be enough if we can't scale this quickly. The Khazari, that's what they call themselves according to our dreamers, are accelerating their timetable. They know we've detected them somehow." In Earth's orbit, the Khazari command structure faced its first genuine crisis in the centuries-long history of their expansion. Commander Vorzik stood before the High Overseer, a massive crystalline entity whose telepresence projection dominated the command deck. "Explain again how primitives without functional telepathy or advanced scanning technology detected our presence," the Overseer demanded, the harmonic overtones of their communication vibrating with displeasure. Vorzik's crystalline form dimmed slightly in submission. "The humans possess an unexpected form of consciousness that operates during their rest cycles. They call it dreaming, and we initially dismissed it as neural noise. We were incorrect in that assessment. These dreams threaten the entire colonization effort." The Overseer's incredulity resonated painfully through the command deck. Junior Scout Tezik stepped forward despite protocol. "High Overseer, I've been studying this phenomenon. The humans don't have individual telepathy as we understand it, but their consciousness exists in layers. Their subconscious mind processes information their conscious mind cannot access, including apparently our phase-shifted presence." "And now," the Overseer demanded. "They're organizing," Tezik explained. "Their scientists are developing technology to enhance these dream connections. Individual humans who detected us spontaneously are being networked together. They're building a collective consciousness defense system, using their minds as both sensors and weapons." Back on Earth, Operation Dreamcatcher expanded exponentially. Thousands of volunteers with demonstrated sensitivity to the alien presence were connected to Powell's network. Traditional military forces stood ready, but everyone understood the real battle was occurring on a different plane of existence. "We've identified their command structure," Chen reported after emerging from an induced dream state. "Their leaders are crystalline beings, more complex and dense than the others. They communicate through harmonic resonance and can project their consciousness across vast distances." Professor Rajiv Mehta, a quantum physicist who had joined the project, studied Chen's readings with fascination. Their physical form explains their technology. They've developed phase-shifting capabilities that manipulate matter at the quantum level. No wonder our conventional detection systems couldn't see them. But our minds can, Powell emphasized. And together, our networked consciousness is creating something they never anticipated, a human collective that can not only detect them but potentially disrupt their technology through focused intention. That night, in synchronized sleep chambers around the world, 5,000 human dreamers entered the collective dream state simultaneously. Unlike the chaotic, individual dreams humans typically experienced, this was a constructed mental environment, a shared space where human consciousness could organize and focus. Chen found himself standing in this mental construct, a vast open space where other dreamers appeared as luminous versions of themselves. Dr. Powell's consciousness guided them, her voice resonating through the shared mindscape. Focus on their command vessels first, she instructed. Thousands of minds working in unison create a psychological field they cannot shield against. Direct your attention to their phase-shifting technology, see it, understand it, disrupt it. The collective human consciousness surged outward, beyond Earth's atmosphere, encountering the Khazari fleet like a wave crashing against crystalline shores. The aliens' ordered, mathematical minds recoiled from the chaotic yet purposeful human thought patterns that suddenly engulfed them. Aboard the flagship, alarms blared as systems began failing. The phase-shifting generators fluctuated wildly, momentarily rendering the previously invisible fleet partially visible to Earth's detection systems. "Impossible," Vorzik exclaimed as displays showed their cloaking technology failing. "How are they affecting quantum-level technology with mere thought?" Tezek studied the readings with growing understanding. "Their consciousness doesn't follow our rules, Commander. Their chaotic thought patterns are creating quantum disturbances that resonate precisely with our technology's frequency. It's like they're singing in harmony with our systems and changing the tune." The High Overseer's projection flickered as the communication system struggled. "This cannot stand. Deploy the psychic dampening field. Scramble their primitive mental connections." As the dampening field activated, the dreamers felt resistance, a pressure against their collective consciousness, attempting to fragment and disperse it. For a moment, the human network wavered. In the Dream Command Center, Powell's consciousness addressed the assembled dreamers. "They're trying to break our connection. Everyone, visualize the network strengthening. See the links between us growing more resilient, not just connecting but reinforcing each other." Chen stepped forward in the mindscape. "I have an idea. Instead of fighting their dampening field, let's absorb it, understand it, and turn it back on them." The human collective shifted strategy, their minds no longer pushing against the Khazari technology but enveloping it, learning its patterns, comprehending its function through direct consciousness. The dampening field began to resonate with human dream patterns, its energy feeding back into the Khazari systems. On the flagship, catastrophic failures cascaded through critical systems as the dampening field unexpectedly amplified human consciousness instead of suppressing it. Crystalline crew members began experiencing fractures in their physical forms as the harmonics of human thought disrupted their biological integrity. "Shut down the field," Vorzik ordered, his form showing stress fractures. "Prepare for emergency phase shift to safe distance." But before the Khazari could retreat, the human dream collective surged forward again, this time with a different intent. Instead of attack, they projected understanding, communication, connection. In the shared dream space, Chen found himself face-to-face with Tezek, the junior scout whose fascination with human consciousness had provided the first warnings to the Khazari command. "We don't want to destroy you," Chen communicated, "but we will defend our world." Tezek's crystalline consciousness resonated with surprise. "You could have shattered our fleet's integrity, yet you choose communication." "War isn't our first choice," Chen replied. "Understanding is." The exchange reverberated through both the human network and the Khazari command structure. The High Overseer, witnessing this unprecedented development, made a decision that would alter the course of Khazari expansion forever. "Stand down all operations," the overseer commanded. "This species is not what we assumed." Dawn broke over Earth as the dreamers gradually awakened. In monitoring stations worldwide, radar operators watched in astonishment as the previously invisible Khazari fleet decloaked completely, taking a non-threatening position far from Earth's defense systems. In the White House Situation Room, President Helena Foster received the unprecedented transmission from the Khazari High Overseer. "We acknowledge your species' unique capabilities," the translated message stated. "Our assessment was fundamentally flawed. We request formal diplomatic contact rather than conflict." Director Jackson turned to Powell, whose exhaustion from guiding the Dream Network couldn't mask her satisfaction. "You did it. You turned human consciousness into our strongest defense." Powell shook her head. "Not me, all of us. What we discovered isn't just a defense mechanism, it's a new understanding of human potential. Our consciousness, working collectively, can perceive and interact with reality in ways our technology can't approach." 3 months later, the first official human delegation prepared to board a Khazari vessel. The diplomatic team included Dr. Powell, Director Jackson, and Marcus Chen, whose direct mental connection with Tezix had evolved into something unprecedented, a continuous consciousness link between human and Khazari. "They still don't fully understand how we detected them," Chen told Powell as they prepared for departure. "Their mathematical minds struggle with the concept of intuition, of knowing something without a logical pathway to that knowledge." "Perhaps that's our greatest strength," Powell replied. "While they developed technology that manipulates the physical world, we developed minds that can perceive beyond it. Different evolutionary paths." "Different but complementary," Chen added. "What they're offering in exchange for peace, their understanding of quantum manipulation, phase-shifting technology, could revolutionize human civilization. And what we're teaching them about consciousness could transform theirs," Powell said. "They've never encountered a species whose minds work collectively through dreams." As the delegation departed Earth, humanity stood at the threshold of a new era. The invasion that had begun as conquest had transformed into contact, the threat into opportunity. Earth had defended itself not through traditional warfare, but through the most human of capabilities, the power to dream, to imagine, to connect minds across boundaries previously thought impassable. And in orbit above Earth, a Khazari scout observed the proceedings with newfound respect. These humans, with their chaotic, creative consciousness, had accomplished something unprecedented in the history of the Khazari Dominion. They had been defeated not by superior technology or military might, but by dreams, the very aspect of humanity they had mocked as meaningless. The universe, it seemed, had more paths to advancement than the Khazari had ever imagined. And humanity's path, though different, had proven no less powerful.